In the grand theater of history, few names command as much fascination as Napoleon Bonaparte. A man of unparalleled ambition, he rose from humble beginnings on the island of Corsica to become the Emperor of France and the master of Europe. His military brilliance reshaped the continent, but his insatiable thirst for conquest ultimately led to his downfall. This is the story of a leader whose meteoric rise was matched only by the scale of his dramatic fall. Born in 1769, Napoleon grew up in a modest Corsican family. From an early age, he displayed exceptional intelligence and a talent for strategy. Sent to France for military training, he quickly distinguished himself as an artillery officer. His big break came in 1793 during the Siege of Toulon, where his tactical genius led to victory against the British. This victory earned him a promotion and set him on the path to greatness. By 1796, at just 26 years old, he was given command of the French army of Italy. Against all odds, he crushed Austrian forces using speed, deception, and brilliant tactics. His victories made him a national hero, and soon, he had his eyes set on something even greater: political power. In 1799, as France struggled with political chaos, Napoleon seized power in a coup d'état, declaring himself first consul. Within 5 years, in 1804, he crowned himself Emperor of France, signaling to the world that his authority came from no one but himself. Between 1803 and 1812, Napoleon built one of the most powerful empires in history. He crushed Austria, Prussia, and Russia in legendary battles like Austerlitz, 1805, and Jena-Auerstedt, 1806. By 1807, he had forced Tsar Alexander I of Russia into submission, leaving only Britain as his biggest enemy. At home, Napoleon revolutionized France. He introduced the Napoleonic Code, which established laws based on equality and merit. He modernized the economy, education, and administration, turning France into a superpower. For a time, Napoleon seemed unstoppable. But even the greatest conquerors are not invincible. Napoleon's two biggest mistakes would lead to his undoing. First, the Peninsular War, which lasted from 1808 to 1814. Napoleon invaded Spain and Portugal, expecting an easy victory. Instead, he found himself trapped in a brutal guerrilla war, with Britain supporting the resistance. The war drained France's resources and morale. Second, the Russian invasion in 1812. In his most disastrous decision, Napoleon invaded Russia with 600,000 troops. He reached Moscow, but the Russians had burned their own city to deny him supplies. As winter set in, starvation and freezing temperatures killed his army. By the time he retreated, only a fraction of his troops remained alive. These defeats shattered Napoleon's empire. By 1814, a coalition of European forces marched into Paris, forcing him to abdicate. He was exiled to the island of Elba, but Napoleon was not done yet. In 1815, Napoleon escaped Elba and returned to France, rallying his supporters for one last fight. For 100 days, he ruled again, but his final gamble ended at the Battle of Waterloo. The British and Prussian forces, led by Duke of Wellington, defeated him once and for all. This time, there was no escape. Napoleon was exiled to St. Helena, a remote island in the Atlantic, where he spent his final years. In 1821 he died, leaving behind a legacy that would shape history forever. Napoleon Bonaparte was a genius, a reformer and a conqueror, but also a man blinded by ambition. His empire crumbled under its own weight, yet his influence endures. His military strategies are still studied, his legal reforms shaped modern Europe, and his name remains synonymous with greatness and ambition. This is the story of Napoleon Bonaparte, the man who rose like a legend and fell like a king.